Just a minute. Hold on 1 second. Uh-oh.
J-Mad is not your everyday lunch partner. He's all the way raw.
How are you going to say Black Lives Matter when the only reason you come out is when cops kill us and we don't come out when we kill ourselves? That's crazy, man.
He's all the way real.
The truth? You can't even handle the truth.
And most of all, he has his priorities right.
I want the Falcons and the Hawks to be my pallbearers at my funeral. That way they can let me down just one last time.
J-Mad gives it to you big.
Yeah, you need that real talk. Well, J-Mad, he got ya. Right here doing God's work, bringing life after the collar. Hey, radio show, and he's doing it big. You just can't ignore J-Mad, bringing you the word. Just holla at your boy. Hey, life after the collar with J-Mad.
What's up? What's up? What's up? This is your boy, J-Mad. This is your boy, J-Mad, on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms that we're on. Even Alexa. That's right. Even Alexa can make it do just what it's supposed to do. Y'all, we're going to have a great show tonight. Listen, if you are on Facebook Live, feel free to hit the share button. I think if you hit in the comments section, if you hit comment, something should pop up that says watch party. I think that's how you do it. You hit the comment section and watch party should pop up. So if you can turn this into a watch party for me, we can make it do what it's supposed to do. We are going to have an outstanding show tonight. It's called A Family Affair, and we're going to dive into family issues about marriage. I guess it's about marriage, but really, what are the dynamics? How did we get to where we are today, as far as family units are concerned? Let me give a shout out to these folks on Facebook Live. Pastor Coleman, what's going on, Doc? Aries, what's up, love? Ashwood, what's going on? Good to have you back. I know you was on the pre-show. Michelle, dear, what's going on, lady? Sabrina, thank you for coming back as well. Sabrina and Ashwood was both on the pre-show. Thank you so much for coming back. Emily Gonzalez, hey, what's going on? Doris is back in the house. She was on the pre-show. Tracy Copeland is in the house as well. I think Pastor Copeland was on the pre-show too. Y'all, here's how we're going to do it today. We're going to have a great show, and it's about, somebody chimed in the chat room on Spreaker. Let me see who's over here in the Spreaker chat room. Aries, hey, good to see you. Thank you. Oh, she's over in the Facebook as well. Thank you so much for doing both. Again, if you can, turn this into a watch party for me. Go in the comment section. I think in the comment section you can hit something, and it'll turn it into a watch party. I don't know if it's on the comments or the share, but I think it's under the comments. If you hit comments, a thing will pop up and you can hit watch party. So y'all, let's see if we can make that happen. How are we going to do this? Oh, we're just going to dive into the conversation, but I got to come back and do my motivational moment and all of that other good stuff. Who said hello? Sylvia, what's going on? Good to see you. Thank you for coming back as well. Sylvia, what's going on? Thank you so much for Papa Tracy. What's going on? Good to have you back as well. Let me go back and wave at everybody. Hey, everybody. Hey, how y'all doing? I'm waving at everybody over here. I think I did right. We are building Friday. I got to get Shamika Boatman on the show. I need to bring Shamika. That's a longtime friend of the family there. She is a natural comedian, y'all. When I say she is crazy, now y'all saints can't bring your saints ears. You're gonna if I ever say Shamika Boatman is gonna be on the show, do not bring your saint ears. Don't do that to yourself, because you. I ain't putting you out there on Front Street. I'm low on my headsets. That's why I'm looking down, y'all. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there we go. I was low on my headsets here. So we're going to have a great show tonight. Oh, the second half of the show, what we're going to do is y'all ask me a question and I answer it. I don't care what it's, free your mind minute, whatever you want to call it, free your mind section. And it's going to be the top of the second hour. We're going to do this new thing called Free Your Mind. And you just ask me a question and I give you the best advice I can give you on that. We'll see how that rolls. I ain't gonna put my personal information. You say, hey, what's your social security number? You just that information just gonna have to bother you. You're just gonna be tied up in your head with that question. So y'all, let me play this song right here, and forgive me on Shamika. Stop me when I'm lying, then, Shamika. Y'all, Shamika, just stop me when I'm lying. Y'all, when I say this girl's Facebook Live is off the chain, she is stupid. Longtime family friend from when we were back in Macon. Sonya, what's going on? I think Sonya was on the pre-show as well. Thank y'all so much for joining in. So y'all, let's sort of go ahead and get this party started. Which way? That's not the one. Okay, I've been having Whitney Houston in my head all day, and I was gonna do some Whitney Houston. I think I'm still gonna do some Whitney Houston, but I pulled the wrong song down, so we'll figure this out. All right.
She's been down and out, she's been wrote about, she's been talked about constantly. She's been up and down, she's been pushed around, but they held her down. NYC, she has no regrets, she accepts the past. All these things they help to make she's been lost and found, and she's still around. There's a reason for everything, yeah. You know I've been holding on, tried to make me weak, but I still stay strong. Yeah. Put my life all up in these songs, just so you can feel me, so you can get the so real me as I am, or have nothing at all, nothing at all. Just take me as I am, or have nothing at all. She's older now, she's wiser now, can't disguise her now. She don't need no one telling her what to do and say, no one telling her who to be. She's on solid ground, she's been lost and found, and she answers to G-O-D. And she's confident this is not the end. Ask me how I know, 'cause she is me. Yeah. No, I've been holding on, trying to make me weak, but I still stay strong. Put my life all up in these songs, just so you can feel me, so you can get the so real me as I am, or have nothing at all. Just take me as I am,
You're listening to Life After the Collar with your boy J-Man on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms that we're on. Even Alexa can make it do what it do, baby. Y'all, we're going to have a great show today. We're going to go ahead and get into the show. Again, at the top of Patricia, thank you for coming back as well. Christopher, what's up, big dog? Good to have you. At the top of the second hour, we're going to have this section called Free Your Mind. And you just sit there and ask me a question, whether it's I'm paying attention in the chat room over on Spreaker. I'm paying attention in the chat room on Facebook Live as well. Let me give a shout out to those that's in the chat room on Spreaker. Sonya, what's up? Michelle, what's up? Jackie, what's going on? Aries, what's going on? Doris, what's going on? I think that's everybody. I think it won't let me go up, but so far, yeah, I know I'm waiting on my dude. Where my dude? What's his name? Harold. Tamika, what's going on? Good to have you over here as well. Again, if you all have something that y'all want me to put out, I'm gonna put my church. I know Pastor Coleman, I'm gonna make sure that I keep putting our church time out as well. But if you have information that you want me to put out, if you want me to plug your business, I'll plug other churches, whatever y'all want me to put out. If y'all got some information, put it in the chat room and I'll make sure it gets out. All right. It's better now that I am 2.5. Margaret, you know what? See that right there. Lottie is in the house. Good to have you. So over in the chat room, y'all, they go in. They on Spreaker.com. On Spreaker.com, they go in. So, you know, it is what it is. The folks over there be having a good time. Here's what we're going to talk about tonight. So yesterday, if you missed yesterday's show, my show is normally Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. Monday and Wednesday, what I do is I have this format. But Friday is a live show out in town at where am I? I'm at a cigar lounge out in town, and we broadcast live. So the setup is totally different. But your Monday and your Wednesday show is off the chain. The only reason that I'm doing today is because yesterday we had a power outage in this area, and it knocked out about 2 or 3 blocks. And so, no, I'm not crying. And so I couldn't do the show because all of my equipment was down. My laptop was up, but I had no way of pushing the stuff out. So I said that I would redo the show today instead of. Patricia, no, I am not crying. I was kind of belching, I think. So here we go. Let's go ahead and roll with the topic. So yesterday I asked a question on Facebook. Said, question: why is the image of a family mainly a fantasy? Why is the image of a family mainly a fantasy? What are some of the reasons that the biblical definition of a family is hard to create today? I'll say it again. There was my 2-part question. Why is the image of a family mainly a fantasy? What are some of the reasons that the biblical definition of a family is hard to create? Okay. Laura, what's going on? Lori, what's going on? And here are some of the responses that I got on this topic. Here's some of the things that I got. One person, Nini, says this: it's definitely a different breed out here nowadays. Priorities are twisted, and finding genuinism, if that's a word, is a rare commodity. Yes, I agree with that. The breed is different. The priorities has been twisted. Angela says this: I've been thinking on why some Christians. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to read that one because I remember that's going to be a different topic. I didn't know why she put that one on under that topic, but that is a good topic, and I'll talk about that later. Because Angela Aries says this, because families are no longer being raised by those dynamics, especially with our generation who are now grandparents. We are extremely rebellious, and we were set to prove I'm not raising my kids like that. I'm not going to make my kids do that, and so on and so on. Snowball effect on that logic made us not have the patience to put in the work. Good comment right here. Made us not have the patience to put in the work for a strong foundation of a family. We back up the U-Haul, and I'm out. I can go on and on. Not all the okay. So let's go back here, because lust and selfishness, it's deeper than that. It's deep. Now, when we was talking about marriage and cheating, that was definitely part of it, lust and marriage. But I want to go deeper than just the act of why don't marriages stay together. I want to talk about the dynamics of a family is totally different now. Mary says this on Facebook. It has a lot to do with foundation. Okay, perfect. And bottom line, that's it. If it isn't built in God, then it's hard to keep together. That's pretty. If I had to put into words a thesis statement, Mary, I think I would use that one. It has to do with the foundation. If I had to come up with a thesis statement, the foundation, the reason why the image of the family is not what it used to be is because the foundation in which we're building families are different. Period. If the Patricia said, true, if the foundation is not built on God, nothing will stand. Okay. Y'all know my show, Life After the Collar. What we do, we merge reality and spirituality. So I do not only want to talk about the spirituality, I also want to talk about reality. Okay, so now let's go back. I did not want to blame it. However, if we're going to talk about the foundation of the family, if we're going to talk about the foundation of the family, let's talk about this part. When we black folks, and I don't want to make this a black issue because it's not just a black issue, but I can talk from a black point of view. Slavery had a lot to do with destroying our families. Here is, I believe this. The church has missed the mark in identifying what our foundation should be. Okay? I am not sitting here blaming it on for what we're doing today. I am not blaming what we are doing today on slavery. However, what I will say is that slavery destroyed our foundation because we were not able to, our culture was not able to hand down the lineage of who we are as a people and as a family. Because what slavery did was took away our... Okay, I'm gonna have to stop looking over here in the chat room on Spreaker because they're not listening to the show. They talking about everything else. So I'm gonna pay attention over here. It's two different purposes coming together, raised different from each other. Right. But I want to go I want to go further back than that. I want to go further back than just saying this, because here that, you know, it's two different people coming together who have not settled in on their foundation. And so when we come together, we have a struggle in building the foundations together. Okay? So we have an issue with the foundation. I get that part. We get that part. But I want to go even back. Let's go back just a little bit past that. And say it like this. We were not, many of us, I don't want to say everybody, many of us was not shown how to have a family and how to stick together, and not someone just said, because I have a foundation and that person have a foundation. Well, being raised, we were not given a proper foundation. We were not given a proper foundation because what I saw in reality was not illustrated in home. We was taught, biblically speaking, this is what the family is supposed to be. But my community, my culture, we were stripped. When you was in doing slavery days, we were stripped. The families couldn't stay together. You was always separated. You tried to marry somebody, they're 12 years a slave. Some other movies, and they showed you Roots, how they would strip you. You married, well, they'll take the man and send him out, or they would kill the man. They'll end up killing the man. So, when we exit, watch this, when we exit out of slavery and moving forward, and they start talking about separation, you know, being equal, now trying to give black folks rights. And so that now I could build a family together. We're building together, and you know, black folks are trying to get their communities and their family together, but still the husband was still being lynched. The men were still being lynched, killed, destroyed. So now this is a cycle of not seeing a father in the home. And it goes on and on. Let's move forward. Vietnam. You're forcing these black folks to go and fight a war, which means the husbands had to leave. And so there's still no male in the picture. And now us boys, that generation of men, boys that was turning into men, did not have a father figure in the house to teach him how to be a father, to teach him how to be a husband. He did not have that image. He did not have that information, because a lot of times I'll share my personal story. I remember when I was married to my two older sons' mother, and we was off in the military. I was in the military, and we were somewhere, and I had just bought a house, and had I think a trampoline and some other stuff out there. I just remember my sons always wanting to go out and play. Growing up, I didn't know what it was like to have my father go out and play with me. Throw the ball, chase me down the street, teach me how to ride a bike. I did not have that image. Now I had an image of my grandfather, because I grew up the large part of my life with my grandfather. Watch this. The only way I knew to be a man is to work and have a roof over my son's head. Never knew how to say I love you to my kids. We asked my grandfather one day, all four of us, me and my brother and my two sisters went to my grandfather and asked him, Granddad, why don't you ever tell us you love us? He looked at us and he said, you see this roof over your head, you see them clothes on your back, and you see the food that's on the table. I'm showing you that I love you. As kids, we had to accept that. But now and so now the dynamics, my grandfather, after later on in years, put my grandmother through hell. As far as cheating and all that stuff. Back in the day, and I think many of us probably have, hey, Rhonda, what's going on? Many of us, Mary, I don't know if I spoke to you, but thank you so much for being in the conversation as well. Many of us may have that same story where grandpa cheated on grandma, but they stayed together. Relationships aren't built like that these days. Relationships just not built like that these days. So the dynamics of where we are today is built on the image that we saw growing up, an absent father. I was talking to some of my family members with the last name Madison that I never met. It's only a handful of Madisons that I know. I know part of my family is Irwin, but I began to start talking to the Madison side, and I come to find out we're from another part of the states up north, and a lot of the Madison men went off and looked for work. Watch this. They had families there, but went off and looked for work and never returned back. They never got back to up north. When they left up there, went there, left their family and said, hey, I'll be back to get you. But when they left, some of them, more than likely, were killed because some of them went down, like part of my Madison, they're in Georgia. Madison's in Georgia. Well, I can imagine some more Madisons came down south, but a lot of them was killed during that time. This is in the 50s and 60s. Some of them ended out in California. So if we simply base the issues of a broken family, and I think this is where the church has missed it. I believe this is where the church has missed it. We base our training on how to save our family based on a marriage relationship. And you can't do that. It should be part of the conversation. However, .com.org and .net, it also has to include the fact, and somebody, Mary, I think it was Mary, used the term, the foundation is jacked up. But when you talk about the foundation, you're basically saying, okay, what cement? What brick and mortar am I using to build the foundation? If you're simply building the foundation off of that person and putting them two together, hoping that they got themselves together, well, you can't. When you do marriage counseling, okay, a lot of stuff that I talk about, I don't tell you what to do. I usually tell you what not to do, or I talk about what should have been done for me, and where I missed the mark or where somebody else missed the mark in counseling me. And I learned, and I said, you know what? I need to add this when I have a conversation. A lot of times instead of talking about the two individuals, what needs to happen is the person that's counseling, tell me about your family, wifey, the female lady. Man, tell me about your family. Tell me everything you know about your family. I want to know about your grandparents. I want to know who's still together, who broke up, why they broke up. What do you know about your grandfather? What do you know about your great-grandfather? Because all of this stuff is important when you are putting two people together who is on a foundation. Watch this. They are on a foundation. But now, when you watch this, a foundation is intended to hold. When they make the foundation of a house or a building, what they do is, in order to my dad was never there. Now, watch this. She does not know what a husband looks like. And she does not know what a father looks like. So now you have to break everything down so that we're both at an understanding that say, hey, we are at a baseline here. We are at a clean slate. I don't know what I'm doing. Woman, and the woman is saying, I don't know what I'm looking for, and I don't know what I'm doing. But that's just me. You're listening to Life After the Collar with your boy J-Man on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms that we're on. Even Alexa can make it do what it does, baby. Y'all, we'll be right back after this music interruption.
Have a fancy car and diamond rings, but girl, you know all good things come in time. Girl, you know I do just about anything to see a smile on your face. So don't let your friends go messing with your mind. Girl, special kind, man, that is hard to find. Told you 1,000 times, baby, hold on to me. Oh, baby, hold on to me. See, I'm a special kind, man, that is hard to find. Told you 1,000 times, baby, hold on to me. Baby, hold on, girl, wasn't I there when he made you cry? And who was there to comfort you when he said bye, 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 baby? Girl, I give you my time. Here
Hey, we're back. You're listening to Life After the Collar with your boy J-Man on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all of the other platforms that we're on. Even Alexa can make it do just what it do, baby. Y'all, this has been a great topic. Great topic. I am really enjoying this. To those that's on the show, y'all didn't hear what I said on Facebook. I was telling them that at the top of the hour, which is in probably about 20 minutes, we're going to do this set. We'll talk about some more, but then we're going to go and get into a set that I call Free Your Mind. Free Your Mind is for about 15 minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes. You can ask me any question that's reasonable. Don't ask me nothing stupid, like, personal information. And I'll be free. I mean, what I mean by personal information, what's your phone number, what's your address and stuff like that. But you can ask me even, hey, what are you dealing with? How do you overcome? I'm dealing with this, whatever. So you can put that in the chat room. And if you want me to talk about it, I'll talk about it. All right. We've been having a good conversation concerning the family. And who was that? Kim. Kim asked a great question over here on Facebook. Let me turn my chat room over here back on. And sorry about those that was listening to Spreaker. It said it lost sound, but I think I saw what happened. But we should be back up. How about he about to answer some questions? I have questions. Okay. So Kim asked a great question. She said, what solidifies the foundation? What solidifies the foundation? The number one ingredient, and this is just, I'm talking from the spiritual side of me. Y'all know Life on College is about the spirituality and reality is together. I from my Christianity point of view, God has to be the center, the glue of whatever you bring to the table. Okay, that is the hardening of the dirt, because when you do a cement, you add in dirt, you add in some other stuff, clay, whatever, however you do it. But God is the thing that binds everything together. Now, you have that. You understand that is only one part of it. See, here's the problem that I have with church folks and pastors that only gives part of the story. You cannot just say you need God. You can't. There's no way you can just say that, because you also need the other two people to come together and bringing allness. So not only do you need God, you need a individual to come on set, put themselves in the potter's clay. Somebody said my mic is messing. Let me turn up my mic. Hopefully that's better. Hopefully that's better. God is definitely, watch this. God is definitely the glue. It's the substance that binds everything together. But now the question becomes, what are you binding together? What are you connecting together? What are you using to solidify this foundation? That person has to come as one. What does that mean? I cannot enter, and this is a huge mistake that I made in the past. I didn't come as Jason. I came in the relationship as everything but Jason. I came to the relationship with everything. I came with my titles. I came with my positions. I came with everything except the stuff that I was hiding. I came not bringing the fact that I don't know what a father is. I don't know what it's like to raise children. I don't know what it's like to be out there. My father did not teach me how to tie a tie. My father did not teach me how to shave. I don't know about. I never saw my father interact with my sisters. So I don't know how to communicate with little girls. Now, my view of raising kids comes from different areas. My view of raising daughters is based on knowing that my mom was raped and my two sisters was raped. So now, when it comes to me raising a daughter, which, God never gave me daughters, but I have goddaughters and I have nieces. So now, as a father figure to them, I am overprotective of them. So I have goddaughters and I have nieces, and so whenever I meet the guys in their lives, I am overprotective of them. When I see them dressed a certain way, and I have a niece, she's 24, 20, and got a whole daughter. And if I see her wearing something, I instantly get mad if it's something that I don't like. You need to go back in. I'm even with my mom. People don't like that. But even when it comes to my mom, if I see my mom in something that I don't like, I say something about it. And I've become overprotective as a father figure to girls. When it comes to my sons, I had to go back and apologize to my sons because I allowed them to see stuff in me that they should not have seen. Because the guy that did that, I consider, and this is up in my teenage years, my late teens, and I was making that transition from being a teen to a man. I didn't have a father to help me with that transition. I had other men that was in the military, and what they showed me was how to run women, how to have as many women as you possibly can. And so I ended up putting a requirement on my sons because I allowed my sons to pick who I was going to date, if I was going to stick with this person. And they saw me with too many women. And I had to go back and apologize because I was being a bad father, a bad fatherly influence on my own sons. And so I had to stop that. And so now when you meet me, and you don't meet my kids. Nobody meets my kids anymore. You don't. I don't. That part I just don't do. We are here and spit out. I don't know what they're talking about over here. Didn't realize it until I had children. Ari said, didn't realize until I had children that I was missing those things. That is it. So a lot of times we watch this. A lot of times we blame the two individual of a jacked up marriage. And it's not, although it is the two people, but it's their foundation that they were standing on that they never said, even though they stood in front of the preacher and said this, and they was wrongfully counseled, they was counseled the wrong way, and they did not understand the fact that I have to get off of my foundation, she has to get off of her foundation so that we can build a foundation. You, lady, you're going to have to stop being so strong-willed. Man, you're going to have to understand that it's not about you anymore. So now we have two individuals trying. They done said they love each other and that we're gonna build this family together. But they started out because they did not know who they are. Bottom line, to the jacked upness of families that we deal with today is two individuals do not know who they are. They say they have a standard for themselves. They say they know their self-worth, but they really don't. I'm going to be real honest with y'all with that statement there. Y'all run around talking about you understand your self-worth. No, you do not. If you do not know what your great-grandmother and great-grandfather went through, you do not know your self-worth. Because if you really know your self-worth, you will know what they went through for you to have what you got. And so now watch this. So now our children are handed things here. And they don't know their self-worth. All they know is somebody handed them something. Hey, Larry, what's going on? Kiara, good to see you. Thank you for coming back. They don't know their self-worth. Because you don't, as the mother or as the father, don't know your self-worth. Because you don't know what your grandmother, you may know what your mom went through, but what you know your mom went through is that your dad left. What you know that your dad, even if you know your dad kept getting fired from job and he struggled and he turned into an alcoholic or strung out on drugs or was a heavy depressant. You know what they went through, but you don't realize the reason why they turned out because you don't know what their mother and father went through. And because you don't know what their mother and father, because you don't know what your mother and father went through, you don't know what their mother and father went through, and you don't know the sacrifices that the great-grandparents. Now, let's not go all the way back to slavery and how we would strip the family from back there. Because back in Africa, if you really pay attention, family was the biggest thing in Africa. And still is. Family is a big thing in Africa. The strength of a family unit is the foundation of what, because they always says, call on your ancestors. Watch this. Call on your ancestors. In other words, what did my ancestors go through for me to have what I have? Not just my mother, but what my grandmother went through, what my great-grandfather went through, what my great-great, and you will find that we are kings and queens, and it was a family heritage. The problem is, I'll give you a better example so we can better understand. And God just showed me this. When we look at financially in the white community, they always have a heritage that's left to them. I don't know what that is. They always have a heritage that's left to them that puts them on a firmer foundation to start with. It gives them something to build on, to build from, to use, to build on financially. If we pay attention to using a natural way of viewing this thing, we don't leave our kids. We don't leave our kids these days a heritage. We don't leave them anything tangible. We don't leave them a house. We don't leave them money. We don't leave them stocks. We don't leave them bonds. We don't leave them, and the list goes on and on and on. When the grandmother, the mother, and the grandfather and the father dies, they just dead. Now, you may have a insurance policy. I'm not talking about an insurance policy. I'm talking about things. This blanket right here is from your great-great-great-grandmother. That vase over there, your great-great-grandfather bought this for your great-great-great-grandmother. There's something that I'm getting ready to do with my sons. I was telling somebody last year. that I'm going to do a pocket watch for my sons to give to their sons so that they can give it to their sons. The Bible instructs us to do this. And forgive me for those that's looking on Facebook. I'm trying to get whatever that is in my eye out. What we have to do, where am I on time? Okay. What we have to do is learn how to give something tangible that connects them to the foundation of the family. But here's the problem. Here's the issue. Here's the issue. We're here now. That's the issue. We're here now. Can't go back to slavery days and put that part of the family back together. I can't go back to Africa. I can't go back to my grandmother or even my mother and father. I can't go back to that. So what do I do now? How do I do it now? We're going to come back and talk about that in the next hour. How do I do that? Since we're here now, what do I do? What do I do now that I'm here? What do I do? You're listening to your boy J-Man on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms that we are on.
J-Mad is not your everyday lunch partner. He's all the way raw.
How are you going to say Black Lives Matter when the only reason you come out is when cops kill us and we don't come out when we kill ourselves? That's crazy, man.
He's all the way real.
The truth? You can't even handle the truth.
And most of all, he has his priorities right.
I want the Falcons and the Hawks to be my pallbearers at my funeral. That way they can let me down just one last time.
J-Mad gives it to you big.
Yeah, you need that real talk. Well, J-Mad, he got ya. Right here doing God's work, bringing life after the collar. Hey, radio show, and he's doing it big. You just can't ignore J-Mad, bringing you the word. Just holla at your boy. Hey, life after the collar with J-Mad.
That's right. You're listening to your boy J-Man on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms that we're on. Even Alexa. That's right, Alexa! Find life after the collar. Yeah, even her can hook you up. So we're at a part of the show. We're going to take a little break from the conversation. We're going to do this new set called Free Your Mind. Free Your Mind. Forget about the topic that we're on. Well, if you want to say something, ask a question about the topic, that's good. This topic is something every young adult should be listening to. Yes, I agree with that. So here's the thing. Ask me a question about anything. Being a father, what do I do about this? Hey, I'm going through that. Can I get some advice on this? Hey, let me explain, this is what I'm dealing with. What advice do you give me? What advice would you give me? Doris, yes, I agree with that. Every young adult should be listening to this topic. Y'all, I'm serious. See, I'm trying to create a format that is open and we can have a good conversation. Y'all, let's have a conversation. What's on your mind? Tell me what's on your mind. I'm trying to be, I'm trying to do new things to the show that we can push the show out more and be more open. Give Lusk, L-U-S-K, I think I said that right. Welcome to the show. Somebody else, Larry, what's going on, man? Kiara, what's going on? Larry, I already said it, Larry. Y'all tell me what's on your mind. Give me something to talk about. Give me something to talk about. Free your mind. Talk about it. Talk about the Falcons. Talk about the Saints. Talk about the Rams. Talk about Mayor Bottom, when she said, I don't want the Saints playing in the Super Bowl in my city. Y'all come holler at me. Y'all not going to say anything? Y'all not going to ask any questions? Y'all not going to say anything, and y'all not going to ask any questions. Look, I'm trying to help everybody out. Let me put something in the background. Let me play some music in the background. I should play that. Come on, y'all. What y'all got? What y'all got to say? Look, the question. Look, see, Ron J. Nobody got anything to say. I'm giving y'all a spot to say, ask whatever you want to ask, talk about, and you don't even have to ask a question. You could just make a statement. I tell you what, I'll deal with this then, since y'all don't want to talk about it. So when I originally asked the question on my Facebook page about family, why is it more of a fantasy now? What are some of the reasons? The topic that we're on, there was a lady, Angela. She asked this under that topic. I've been thinking on why don't some Christians don't want to wait for sex? Why they have to? I was going to say something that was just, why they have to be just like the world. I need a man to answer that, please. So her question is, I've been thinking on why don't some Christians don't want to wait to have sex? Why they have to just be like the world, okay? Hey, Cody, what's going on? Yo, and Cody is a family. I did their marriage stuff. How long y'all been married now, Cody? I did her and her husband's wedding some years ago. So we'll just talk about that. So she's asking, why do some Christians why they don't want to wait for marriage before having sex? Simple. Because at a young age, they got that itch scratched. And when you have that itch scratched and you know what it feels like, it is in you now. And it's just like drugs. It's just like drugs. Once that thing get in your system, it's in your system. And it is what it is. Another thing is, some people have been in marriages that did save themselves and found out the sex sucked. And so a lot of times what people say is that I got to try on the shoes first. So that's how I would answer that from a man point of view. Because people are trying, and not just men, women too. They're just simply trying on the shoes. Do you believe, this is Jackie, do you believe we should blame our traumas from our childhood as the reason why we can't connect with our spouse? Yes. Blame it. Put the whole blame on it? No. But if you know that your childhood issues that you brought to this marriage or to this relationship, and you know that that's an issue, now the question is, have you got counseling? So now it's not just the issue, but now you recognize that is an issue. So now you have to blame yourself or ask yourself, did I get help from it? Hey, John Small, what's good going? What's going on? Alicia, what's going on? I think that the problem with the family is that the family has evolved, and our expectations are that it's the same as our grandparents, which wasn't a good because the men cheated on the women and they still do. So let me add, Ladia, I'm gonna tell you, this is one of the things that I don't do well. And that always saying that the man cheated, because I know plenty of children that was born. I know plenty of children, grown people, my age, finding out that their daddy, who they thought was their daddy, really wasn't their daddy because the mama went out and cheated. The milkman and the mailman was real. I think that the problem with the family, okay, so men and women have cheated. Men and women in the old days have cheated. I have family members that I know had cheated, and it was the female that had cheated and not the man. You don't have problems with your flesh if you don't have, you don't have a problem with your flesh if you don't have to cause your, I don't understand that one. Or the woman cheat. Yeah. So it's always both. And you know, Ladia, a lot of times it's married people asking those questions with thighs laying next to them every night. Right. And see, that's why that, you know what? One of the things that I in church ministries, it's hard for married folks to tell single folks what to do. You could say, biblically speaking, this, but to sit there and say, all you got to do is this, all you got to do is pray, all you got to do is God. Look, I'm going to be, okay, let's do it this way. When you choose to have sex, doesn't have anything to do with the type of Christian you are. I agree with that. Let me do it this way. Y'all know I try my best to be as open. I'm a grown-ass man. And look, this is spirituality, reality. If I offended somebody, but you know, it's after 9 o'clock. Well, no, it's 8 o'clock. Anyway. I'm a grown man. Being a grown man, 46, single. I was married 28 years before I was divorced. I never had a problem with my flesh. Then I got divorced and found flesh ain't dead. Right. That part, that's exactly where I was getting ready to go to. Right there. Of course, you're not going to have an issue mainly with your flesh unless you're not getting none in your marriage. Because if you wasn't getting none in your marriage, then you're going to have an issue with your flesh. As a single man that has been in a relationship and that has had sex and that has found out that I enjoy sex, yes, it is an issue. I did a show, and I may revisit this show. I did a show back in the day, or last year sometimes. But then even before that, I did it on my Periscope when I was on Periscope, and I did a session or episode called "Single, Saved, and Sexy." It's one thing to be single. Okay, it's one thing to be single and dealing with sexual desires. It's another thing to be single and then now I'm saved. That's a totally different animal. When you're single, but you don't know God, you ain't trying to get to know God, but you want to kind of be right. Yeah, you're going to struggle with that because you don't just, you know you got values about yourself. But then you get saved, right? You get saved. Now you're saved and single. But you done had a taste of this medicine called sex. Now you're dealing with some things. But watch this. Single and saved is one thing. But now you single. Now let me talk to y'all sexy folks. And y'all know what that is. Y'all look, you look good and everybody chasing after you. You got that swag and the saved folks and the unsaved is chasing you. Because you got them lips, them hips, and them that look. I want to talk to y'all. Because you sexy. You got that swag. Dudes, y'all got that swag going on. But you saved. And you single. And you like sex. And now the right people are in your face. The right people are in your face now. So now how do I deal with that? I ain't talking about folks that, and I'll put it this way. The Bible described one of the women in the Bible that she was pleasing to the eye. So I'm talking to y'all folks that verse was written for. You pleasing to the eye. You pleasing to the eye. So now you saved. You love the Lord. He heard your cry. We got that. You single. But you fine. Dudes, you be wearing the great, what they call the sweatpants, because you know sweatpants is equal to a woman's sundress. How how we look at women in them sundresses is how women look at us when we wear them sweatpants. That's real talk. Now, when you ain't got nobody chasing you, you single and saved, and ain't nobody chasing you. Ain't nobody trying to have sex with you. Ain't nobody trying to push up on you. You trying to give it away, and ain't nobody. Okay, I'm just going to be real. So, you know, that's a different animal. That's a different animal. We good? Y'all good? I'm good. We good with that conversation? So what I would tell you, you know, when you dealing with sex and people sitting there with, why, you know, you're saved and you're a Christian, why don't you know how to wait? I'm going to tell you why we don't know how to wait. Because you can only say no so many times. You're only going to say no too many times. You gonna, no, look, I'm good, and you pushing people away. You pushing people away because you're trying to be right. But then that lonely night comes, and that phone ring about 10 o'clock, and it's him, and he's in his feelings, and he's saying all the right things. And today, well, they said today was a good day. But the day ain't gonna be, this ain't the good day here. Because I'm finna fall short on this one. It is what it is. That's why Christians don't know how to wait. Because we done got that itch scratched before. And because we done got it scratched before, we want more. It's like, you know, getting that first high. I never used drugs. So I don't know what drug, but I know, you know, when I was a teenager, and I've always been okay. Let me go back over here. You're listening to Life After the Collar with your boy J-Man on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms.
I just want to ask a question. Where would I be if I didn't know you? Who would I be, baby, if I didn't know you? Who would I be if I didn't know you? Where would I be if I didn't know you? Where would I be? What would I be if I didn't know you? What would I be? What would I do? Who would I be if I didn't know you? If I didn't know you, if I didn't know you, baby, baby. You don't recognize it, but I tell you no lie. But you're the reason why my life is turning right. Every day I'm thankful, at times I don't show you. My world would be incomplete if I didn't know. Who would I be if I didn't know you? If I didn't know you, where would I
Every time you kiss me, you make me remember that sunny fall day at the end of September. Boy, I can't imagine, no. What would I do if I didn't know you? About it. No, 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 no. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Baby, where would I go?
Day so hard, so much stress. Life won't let up, boy, just rest. Lay down and let me cover you with all these kisses. So much on your mind, it weighs on your head. But baby, you're worry-free in this bed. Go ahead and let me cover you with all these kisses. Lay back now, 'cause you got it up. Work so hard to take care of us. Baby, I'll relax your mind if you just let me. Sure, it feels like nobody cares out there, but you know I'm here. Don't trip about me now, you can lay it down. I know it's heavy. Ooh, when you called and said you were on your way, I was waiting. Anything for my lover, anything for my babe, no hesitating. Day so hard, so much stress. Life won't let up, boy, just rest. Lay down and let me cover you with all these kisses. So much on your mind, it weighs on your head. But baby, you're worry-free in this bed. Go ahead and let me cover you with all these kisses. Yeah. Tell me, baby, let me know what we could do. Anything, everything you wanna do. Pick a time and place, I put it on you. Pick a time and place, I put it on, put it on. I know you're tired, baby, but I know what drives you crazy. I'll take it slow, baby. I know you miss these kisses. Day so hard, so much stress. Life won't let up, boy, just rest. Lay down and let me cover you with all these kisses. So much on your mind, it weighs on your head. But baby, you're worry-free in this bed. Go ahead and let me cover you with all these kisses.
You're listening to your boy J-Man on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms that we're on. Even Alexa can make it do what it do, baby, because it's all good. It's definitely all gravy. So, y'all, we've had a great conversation about, I said I was going to talk about something about marriage. I mean, the final. How do you move forward? Oh, I know what it was. It was now that we're here, now that we are, we can't go back and change slavery. We can't go back and take away Vietnam. We can't go back and Jim Crow and all of this other stuff and cause the father to be absent. So where do we go from here? Well, we may not, in order for, it's two things that we have to do. Number one, we have to understand this. I can't change what happened to me. My marriages, my relationships, my whatever. I can't go back and change any of that. That's in the past. So now that I have the information about what went wrong, and it wasn't just the other person. It was me too. It was me too. When we get to that point, we can say, hey, it wasn't just them. Steve, what's going on, man? It wasn't just them. It was me too. So now I have to correct that. But now let's move forward. What do I mean by move forward? I've lived my life. Hey, Keisha, cuz I've lived my life. I'm 46 now. So a large part of I got more days behind me than I do in front of me. Okay? So now what do I do now? I make it better for my children. So now I slow down and regress and we go back and rethink about some things. I don't know what's that. Something's buzzing in my headphones. And so now I go back and address my kids, my children. And you sit them down and say, hey, I understand most of us, especially our age, our children, majority of our children are grown, and we may still have teenagers. Some of us still got little ones running around. But you sit them down and say, let's talk about my family and what our family went through. And the hard part of that conversation is going to be this. I don't know much about what they did. I don't know much about the sacrifices that they had to go through for us to even be here. I don't know why my father wasn't there, because I don't know if his father was there. I don't know how, that mother treated him. I don't know, because you're dealing with all kinds of issues. You're dealing with family molestations. You're dealing with illegitimate children. You're dealing with so many different things. We're dealing with so many different things. And so now I have to stop being selfish and stop looking out for myself, because now I have to take personal time to correct me, so that maybe these last few years that I have, God will send me someone. And hopefully I can find somebody that understand their foundation, what they're built of, what they're built on, whether, all of their issues. Maybe I could find someone down the line, but now I have to save my children. I have to save my future, because I don't want my children to end up divorced. I don't want my children to have illegitimate kids. I don't want my children to have children out of wedlock. I want my children to do it right. And the way that I do that is sit down and give them something to build on. So if you have little kids, and let's call it all the way up to 13, 14, sit down and talk to your kids for real. Because I'm going to share this part, one thing, and this is one thing that I've always noticed. Little girls have always planned on being married, for the most part. Because they get their Ken and their Barbie, and their Ken and Barbie are always together. That's why I initially defined in that statement that I made, in the opening statement that I placed on Facebook, I used the term fantasy. Because most women are basing a fantasy of a marriage based on their image of when they was growing up playing with Barbie and Ken. And Barbie had the nice house and the nice car, because in their mind, Ken got her the new nice house and the nice car, because Barbie never had a job until later on, they started giving her different jobs to do. But for the most part, women, little girls always talked about marriage. Oh, they know when they little. They know what kind of dress they want. They know what colors they're gonna use. Guys is not thinking about, little boys are not thinking about marriage. But nowadays, you don't see that. Back in our days, yeah, they used to do that. But nowadays, little girls aren't playing with dolls and Ken and talking about marriage and stuff. It's all about what's good for me. I need my purses. I need my dresses. I need this. I need that. I need it. Ladies or little girls are doing that now. They're taught how to be independent from a guy. Doris, let's talk about that that statement you have. We're gonna talk later on that, because I wanna I love your kids, and so I want to make sure that good information is given to him on that. I had to deal with that myself. Most people, a lot of people, the people that do know me from the outside, know my name, actually know my face, we talk, and they know what I've been through in life, don't know the real story. It's probably only 2 people in this world that know the real story about a majority of what I've been through in life. After I got divorced, my son's father got divorced 6 months later. He said to me, "Y'all need to get together. I ain't going through this. I just won't get married." Right there. And that's where I am. I'm going to be real honest, marriage. And when I tell I don't want to get married, it's not based that I don't trust women. When I say that, it's that because I'm so confused about me, because if I've been through divorces, why now my thing is, okay, it's me. After I got divorced, I said, okay, I read that. So our job, where we are now, since we can't go back and change the past, since we can't go back and change all of that stuff, what do I supposed to do? How do I supposed to handle this? It's real simple. Well, not real simple. That's a lie. A lot of times we keep saying this, things are simple, and it's not. It's real difficult. We're going to have to sit down and reteach our children so that we can save them. Because if I can save them, I can save my grandchildren. And if I can save my grandchildren, I can save my great-grandchildren. My oldest 2 sons' mother just got married about 3 weeks ago. And I'm happy for her. I really am happy for her. But I told her, make sure that it works. Make sure that it works. You don't keep going through the cycle. Make sure it works. Do what you got to do. Kids more so look at what we do opposed to what we say. If we see us getting divorced, why would right? Harold, you right on time right there. But sometimes, and Harold, we have to learn to be honest with our children so that they can also see our mistakes, because sometimes they can learn from our mistakes. And if we share our mistakes with them, maybe they'll be able to avoid the issues of divorce and broken marriages and broken homes and things like that. All right? Y'all good? If y'all good, we good. I've truly enjoyed you all tonight. I'm just going to go. You know what? I'm going to dedicate one song. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to dedicate one song from a lady. Oh, here it is. So I'm going to dedicate a song from a guy to the ladies. And then I'm going to dedicate a song from the ladies to the guys. All right? If you're not on... hey, Sheila, what's going on, dear? If you're not on Spreaker.com / Spreaker.com, Spreaker, Spreaker.com /show /LATC. LATC stands for Life After the Collar. If you're not on Spreaker.com /show /LATC, you're not going to hear the music part because they already done booted me off once on Facebook because of their foolishness that they got going on. But the songs are this. Get on Spreaker.com. Get on Spreaker.
There's something that I want to say, but words sometimes get in the way. I just want to show my feelings for you. There's nothing that I'd rather do than spend every moment with you. I guess you should know I feel so. You are my lady. You're everything I need to know.
pleasure releaser, the high nights know without the scars to show ya. The night school teacher, the good life preacher, the caretaker, the kiss craver. He is. All these words are only frosting on my cake. Feelings explain, don't do justice to how I feel. So alive, so in love for the first time, baby. Nowhere can I hide who, what. The mind injector, the heart protector, the soul defender of anything I fear. The baby conceiver, the make me believer, the joy bringer, the love giver. The door increaser, the pleasure releaser, the high nights know without the scars to show ya. The night school teacher, the good life preacher, the caretaker, the kiss craver. Everything I want, and so much more than I thought it could be. Girls, I gotta be the same for him. Gotta be the same for him, for my baby. Yes, yes. I know my joy bringer. The mind injector, the heart protector, the soul defender of anything I fear. The baby conceiver, the make me believer, the joy bringer, the love giver. The door increaser, the pleasure releaser, the high nights knowing that the stars to show ya. The night school teacher, the good life preacher, the caretaker, the kiss craver. Make it alright to get you through the night. The soul defender of anything I feel. The pain remover, bad times undo. Joy bringer, the love giver. He is. He is.
You're listening to Life After the Collar with your boy J-Mad on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms that we're on. Even Alexa can make it do what it do. I want to say this before we go off air. We got about 20 minutes. I read something today. Well, actually, I've seen it several times. And what it said was this: I'm looking for a man that is willing. To help break down my walls brick by brick. I understand that concept. I understand what they're saying. But it is not, that's what it said. It says, I'm looking for a man, my desire is to have a man, whatever, I think how it said, that is willing to break down the walls that he did not cause and raise kids that he did not make. I understand with the dynamics of our society, I understand what those statements mean. Because more than likely we're going to get into a relationship, more times than not, we're going to get into a relationship whose kids you weren't, whether it's a man or woman, that you weren't a part of making. So I understand that part, and I understand what the other person, I am where I am, and I need somebody to, I desire somebody that is going to want, first of all, understand that. But if you are not free from your past, there is no need of getting into a relationship. If you still have that wall up and you are requiring that person to help take down that wall, that is wrong. You should be able to say to that person, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, and that I'm trying to get better, and I'm learning how to deal with this, and I'm learning how to overcome this. But you should never require that person, the next person, and I know we've taught this in church, and we've taught this in relationship and all of this other stuff, but it is not that person's responsibility to do that. That he or she can be moral support for you. Because there are going to be days that you're going to want to cuss, scream, fight, whatever. Because of something that the other person did. And now you in your feelings because the man walks in and left his shoes at the front door instead of putting them on the stand. But so that reminded you of your ex because he did that. And now you're fussing at him about shoes, but in reality, you're blaming him for the insecurities that your ex created in you. Vice versa. Your wife didn't put enough, creamer in your coffee. And so now you're fussing at her and you're fighting her based on something that somebody else did. It reminded you of your ex. They didn't know that was a trigger. Get rid of your triggers before you get into the relationship. Let me help. I'm gonna try to be open as much. Look. If you're gonna be grown, be grown. If you're going to do what grown people do, go ahead and do that. But don't count it as a relationship. Oh, God. It's a whole different other conversation. This is a whole different other topic. Matter of fact, we're going to save that for tomorrow. We'll save that topic for tomorrow. How to deal with triggers. And how not only how to deal with triggers. Y'all, if I forget what the topic is, I'm gonna put on Facebook, hey, I forgot what the topic was. Can somebody remind me? But what we need to do is not only know how to deal with triggers, but we need to know how to recognize our triggers and how to recognize triggers in other folks. Let me tell you something. When a shot is fired at you, and you didn't do nothing, that means you are an innocent bystander. You are an innocent bystander of someone pulling a trigger. Not so, and Aries, thank you so much for saying that. So many women. And I'm thank you for saying it from a woman's point of view, and I'll say it from a man's point of view. In so many men, it's a downfall in so many men too. Because I want y'all to understand this: women, y'all have a gift that we don't have. Y'all have. How do I put it? Because y'all don't forgive. Y'all will let go. But y'all will bring that stuff back up. Men, we won't let go. Because we have this thing, I'm only going to get hurt once by you. I had to personally deal with something recently that took me out. It literally took me out. It took me out, and I'm not in a good space to to talk about it now. Maybe one day I'll be able to talk about it, but it took me out. I had an issue that came up recently that literally emotionally, it wiped me completely out. It wiped me completely out. And I made a post today. You know, some of y'all folks, y'all be getting too deep into my posts. I ain't gonna say which post it was, but some of y'all get too doggone deep in my posts. Sometimes I'm just talking off the side of my neck. But some women, yes, she said some women. And what I mean by that is that y'all would let it go, but if something else happens and it ain't got nothing to do with what he just did on that side, he did something else stupid, you're going to add that on top of it. Y'all will build a list. Men, we're not big on building a list. If I'm done, I'm done. And usually it's that one time. Because and it's not on y'all. We just have fragile egos. We have real fragile egos. We have real fragile egos. And we're built differently. We're built differently than you all are. You all have, we're just built differently. All right? So that's going to be the topic tomorrow. That's going to be the topic. What is it again? What is it? I forgot. You listen to Life After the Collar with your boy J-Man on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms that we're on. Even
Worldwide, you officially tuned in to a BBK classic.
I'm calling this phone up just to tell him how much I really love him, 'cause he's everything I want. He listens to me, cares for me, so I truly believe God sent me an angel from above. It's gonna love me for life. That is what be perfect, only because it's the only way I can describe. So this is love. Tell me what it is. I could be dreaming of just plain crazy. This is love. Tell me what it is. 'Cause I never felt like this, baby. This is love. What it is to me. Oh, this is love. What it is to me. Oh, this is love. I'm selfish 'cause I don't want to share them with nobody, not even those people that came before me. But see, I never believed God sent me an angel up from above that's gonna love me for life. That is wasn't perfect, only because it's the only way I can describe. So this is love. What it is. I could be dreaming of just plain crazy now. This is love.
I know this might seem strange, but let me know if I'm out of order for stepping to you this way. See, I've been watching you for a while, and I just gotta let you know that I'm really feeling your style. Cause I had to know your name and leave you with my number, and I hope that you would call me someday. If you want, you can give me yours too, and if you don't, well, I ain't mad at you. We can still be cool, girl. I'm not trying to pressure you, just can't stop thinking about you. You ain't even really gotta be my girlfriend. No, no, I just wanna know your name, and maybe sometime we can hook up, hang out, just yeah. Damn, I'm surprised that you called, cause the way you walked away, I thought I wasn't gonna see you no more. Since you didn't wanna give me your man, I thought that you were digging me and wasn't digging me. But anyway, what you doing tonight? I'll probably be with my peeps. If it's cool with you, maybe we'll swing by and you can just chill. Or you can just chill with me, long as you're comfortable and you feel secure when you're with me. Cause I'm not trying to pressure you, just can't stop thinking about you. You ain't even really gotta be my girlfriend. Oh yeah, I just wanna know your name, and maybe sometime we can hook up. We can. Baby, yeah. Maybe we can go see a movie, girl. Or maybe we can hang out, girl. Whatever you wanna do, just let me know. It's up to you. Pressure you, just can't stop thinking about you. You ain't even really gotta be my girlfriend. I just wanna know your name, and maybe sometime we can hook up, hang out, just chill. Oh yeah, I'm not trying to pressure you, just can't stop thinking about you. No, I can't even really gotta be my girlfriend. You ain't even gotta be my girl. Maybe sometime we can hook up, hang out, just chill. I'm not trying to pressure you, just can't stop thinking about you. You ain't even got a girl.
You're listening to your boy J-Man on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms that we are on. Even Alexa. That's right, she can make it do what it do. Y'all, we had a great show tonight. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight. It has been a blast. I'm going to dedicate this last song out to the Rams and to the Patriots. This goes out to the Rams and the Patriots, especially to my dudes, the Rams. I ain't going to get into it, but this goes out to y'all. Holla at your boy. It's all
after the party, it's the Waffle House. If you ever been here, you know what I'm talking about. Where people don't dance, all they do is this. And after the this original, you know what it is.
Welcome to Atlanta.
Remix, it had to go down. I got something else to tell you about the new Motown. Where people don't visit, they move out here. And ain't no telling who you might see up in Lenox Square. I don't know about you, but I miss the Freaknik. Cause that's when my city used to be real sick. People from other cities used to drive for miles just to come and get a taste of this ATL. I'm the MVP, most ballingest player. Make my own moves, call me the mayor. Monday night, you know things change with time. Magic City back looking like 8 and 9. All my homies on the south side up in the Ritz. Tuesday night, the Velvet Room Saints. Wednesday, strokers, I don't go no more. Cause they don't know how to treat you when you come through the door. Thursday night was plush, but we moved the fuel. And I be up in the booth, drunk, acting the fool. Friday night at Kaya, they still got love. And the Shark Bar be popping like it's a nightclub. Saturday, still off the Heezy for Sheezy. You can find me up in one Tweezy. Sunday, getting me some sleep, please. I'm on my way to the deck to hit jazz and teens. Holla.
Representing NYC to the fullest. Okay, look, heads be ducking in New York, be busting. Take that. Welcome to New York, where we don't play and out of towners get got like every day. And a gangster's a gangster in every way. Sitting on 22s, just what long money do. Now the dawn's on it, did he shine on it? Tell Flex to run it back and drop a bomb on it. Sunday we laying low in Halo, sipping Chris and we straight. Monday we go to Bungalow 8. Tuesday I'm in Spa drunk doing the shake. And for the rest of the week we just follow the freaks. You can spot us out of town by the way that we walk, the way that we talk. Cocky the state of New York, hot now, top down at the Rucker game. New coupe, no roof, player, what's my name? Now Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Staten, Uptown, what now? Let's make it happen. New York, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. We still here, and we built it for more new time.
You say St. Louis ain't hip-hop. Dirty, we hop to what's hip. I'm a lunatic with too much grip to let her slip. I'm so St. Louis, ask my tattooist. I was like the water boy, now they saying you can do it. I'm Baby Huey, one of the best in the Louis. Sip Louis, dressed in Louis. Home of back porches, Chucks and Air Forces. Old school costly, trailblazing like Portland. The girls are the best like Travis with fat asses. I call them gimme girls, they always tell me I can have it. All got habits. The static, 5'2" cats and coats with automatics. St. Louis is the truth like Sojourner. Don't need a burner, we learn from Ike Turner. I tried to told you don't cross that bridge without permission from them St. Lunatics.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got the big Snoop Dogg in the house tonight. He just came from off tour, and he want to tell y'all a little bit about where he come from.
Palm trees, bad and wannabes. OGs like me eating on policies. Now latest, jelly beans and wallabies. Real from the set I hardly ever seen. Mostly heard, sell a bird off the kizzer. Then when we dip, we hop it, then we swizzer. A lot of homies like to wear the piss on. Hair longer than hers, sharp with the pisser. Doggy this off, you know I like the bizzo. Like Kobe and Shaq, so take that. Long Beach is on the map, the city by the sea. R.I.P.J.D. You know about the LBCs. Blood and stillers, cold-hearted killers, real cat pillars, real fillers, ain't no swillers. A lot of bang, diggy dang dang. Dog pound, gangster, crip gang, yeah, we do the damn thing. Go to Pomona, scoop up cocaine. Head to the church house to get a little workout. Smoke out, drink up, now put your bank up. It's all on me, I got a scenery to stank up. Crank up the beat, raise up the heat. I'm throwing a block party on 2-1 streets.
Welcome to Atlanta Remix, hey. And we ride on them things like every day. Big beats hit streets, see gangsters.
Yeah, you need that real talk. Well, J Mad, he got ya. Right here doing God's work, bringing life after the collar. Hey, radio show and he's doing it big. You just can't ignore J Mad, bringing you the word. Just holla at your boy. Hey, life after the collar with J Mad.